Hello everyone, Dr. John Bartemus here to talk to you today about the importance of your posture for your overall health and well-being. I'm going to piggyback on last week's video. Last week we talked about, is chiropractic a religion? And we ended by talking about, no, it's not a religion, it's a science, and science shows that as your posture degenerates, your health degenerates, whether you believe that or not. And today we're going to dig into that science. Now, everyone can tell walking down the street if someone has good or bad posture. And I'm sure we've all been walking in the mall before and observed elderly men and women walking through the mall with a walker or a cane or just neither of those, but they have this bent forward, what's called a hyperkyphotic posture, where they have that dowager's hump, it's called, and that rounded forward mid-back. And what we find is that is an actual de-evolution of posture. Good posture is upright, head over the shoulder. Poor posture is we sink forward here. Okay, and what we're going to find today is this leads to a loss of physical function, a loss of lung function and heart function, and an increased overall cause of death or risk for mortality. So we'll start with this poster right here. This first saying over here is Roger Sperry. He's a medical doctor who won the Nobel Prize for brain research. And his famous quote is that 90% of stimulation and nutrition to the brain is generated by movement of the spine. So as your posture degenerates, your spinal movement degenerates. The less spinal movement you have, the less nutrition and information you're feeding into the brain, and the less proper function you have. So the brain controls and coordinates every function of your body. If the brain isn't getting the nutrition that it needs and the stimulation that it needs through spinal movement because your posture is poor, it's not going to run your body properly, and that will result in loss of physical function, disease, and early death. Moving on, we have Kabanji, who wrote a book called The Physiology of Joints. This guy is the king of joint mechanics, and his says for every inch forward of anterior head posture or forward head posture, every inch that your head moves forward in front of your shoulders, it's an increase of the weight on the spine by an additional 10 pounds. So if your head feels like, or is 10 pounds to your body, if I move it forward an inch, it feels like 20 pounds to my body. Another inch, 30 pounds. So that's chewing up your neck, causing spasms in your traps, tension, headaches, potential allergies, asthma, things of that nature. The Mayo Clinic in 2000 stated that as the head moves forward, just what I said, muscle strain, disc herniations, arthritis, and pinched nerves develop in the neck due to that poor anterior head posture. Alright? Alfred Bragg, he's a neurosurgeon and also won a Nobel Prize. He says the loss of cervical curve stretches your spinal cord 5 to 7 centimeters. So as you lose that nice cervical curve and your head goes forward, your spinal cord is stretched 5 to 7 centimeters, causing disease. How does that cause disease? Well, your brain runs your body, as we said before, and it does that by communicating down the spinal cord and out the nerves to every cell, tissue, and organ you have. So if that cord is stretched, that communication is interfered with, and the body's getting wrong signals, and the brain's getting wrong information back. So instead of producing the right amount of stomach acid to digest your food, maybe you're producing too much or too little. Too much would be ulcers, too little would be GERD or acid reflux. Okay? And lastly, the Journal of the American Medical Association stated that, quote, deviations in the body's center of gravity caused by poor posture result in intestinal problems, hemorrhoids, varicose veins, osteoporosis, hip and foot deformities, poor health, decreased quality of life, and a shortened lifespan. So poor posture decreases quality of life and causes you to die early. And I have in my hand here a study from the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society that says hyperkyphotic posture predicts mortality in the older community, men and women. So in a geriatric population or elderly population, having that hyperkyphotic posture, that rounded upper back, causes an increased risk of death from all causes. 40% of men, it was found, have this hyperkyphotic posture in our elderly population, and 20% of women. So 40 and 20% of our elderly, respectively, are dying early deaths because of poor posture, because they never received chiropractic care or never got sufficient chiropractic care to prevent that postural degeneration. Now, what are they dying of? They say in the study that the poor posture raises risk of death from all causes, but the most common ones are pulmonary causes of death, so anything having to do with your lungs, because if you look, a rounded forward spine is compressing the area for your lungs to expand, and therefore doesn't let you get rid of bacterial viral infections in the lung as well. And also the second thing was you had a 2.6 times increased risk of atherosclerosis, so heart disease, cardiovascular disease death, because of poor posture. And this is medical doctors and PhDs doing this research, not chiropractors. But what's great is it proves that what we do as chiropractors can help prevent all these massive healthcare costs from cardiovascular disease, from pulmonary disease, if we just maintain proper posture. All right? And this, what's interesting, is some people will say, well, that rounded forward back is due to osteoporosis or spinal fractures. Well, in this study, they controlled for those, meaning they pulled out those variables, and there was still the increased rate of death in the elderly that don't have osteoporosis or vertebral abnormalities, but still have the Dowager's hump. So I just want to read a couple quotes from you here, and we'll let you go today. But basically what they said is those with a hyperkyphosis and absence of the vertebral deformities, so no vertebral fractures or osteoporosis, had the same degree of physical and emotional functional impairments as the people that had the hyperkyphosis with the vertebral deformities. So there's no distinction between the two. A hyperkyphosis, poor posture, is poor posture. And poor posture leads to poor health, regardless of the cause of that poor posture. So they finished the study by saying, the realization that hyperkyphosis is not synonymous with vertebral fractures may lead to interventions specifically targeted at improving postures, resulting in reduced mortality rates. Well, what better intervention aimed at improving postures is there in the planet than chiropractic? Chiropractic is not about back pain. Chiropractic is about quality of life and extending your lifespan as long as possible. And the easiest way to do that is to maintain a proper, healthy posture. There's no medication on the planet that's going to do that for you. There's no surgery that's going to do that for you. Only preventative action taken before it happens with your chiropractor is what's going to do that for you. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm here to help you realize your full potential for quality of life and lifespan. Have a great day.